Hello and welcome to the Reading Entertainment Podcast episode, 363 for August 14th, 2022. My name is Nathan Reed Spruth. Joining me this week, we've got Connor, the Cyberpunk Monk, Besh.
So what? We watch anime. So
Yes.
what? We play the...
Yes, that was our old song. It's dead. It is dead to us.
It's
And
not dead. I bring it up like every other week.
I know. And we are also joined by Andrew Roa McFain, who just plunged a toilet for 20 minutes.
I did. It's true.
Sometimes life be like that.
Did you fix it?
It's fine. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't fixed it.
Oh, good. Good. I'm happy
And
that
I refuse to ever call a plumber for a clogged toilet.
one time, and I might be sharing too much. It wasn't me, but my sister had a friend be our roommate for a while, and the plumber came out and plunged the toilet and was put the snake down, and when they were pulling the snake back up, it was like pulling out used condoms and tampons that the roommate had flushed down the toilet.
Yeah, those aren't supposed to go down there.
Yeah, no. And just so you know, if it says, because some tampons will say that it's flushable, the recommendation is still don't.
Don't.
It's still a bad idea. That's not where they go. Anyway, I'm your host, Nathan Rinsbruth, and let's ask Aroa where we can find you.
Go to Aroa.website. That still works.
Yeah, are you gonna put your plumbing business on there?
I'll plunge your toilet. Wink, wink.
And Cyberpunk Monk, what about you? Where can we find you?
If one was really so inclined to do so, they could find my relevant social media links at aroa.website as well. One of those links that I want to draw your attention to is Clinton's Core Classics, a Rise of the Rune Lords first edition actual play podcast. We are already trucking through our 6th and final season.
We're doing it. It's been what, 6 years?
For releases about, yeah. Hey, is my mic cutting out, or is that just Discord saying it is? Am I good?
You sound fine.
You're fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you sound good.
Let's go on.
No RoboConnor today.
Not yet, anyways.
And of course, I'm your host, Nathan Reeton Spruth. You can find me everywhere at Reeton. I'm on Twitter at Reeton, and you can find me on Twitch Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time to 9 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/Reeton. Hey, Connor, what games did you play this week?
Well, I have played exclusively Fallout New Vegas, exclusively on my Steam Deck. It happened. It sure did replace my gaming machine.
Good. Is it noticeably better than the Switch?
For the type of gaming I would like to do, and the fact that I have a massive Steam library already, hell yes.
Good.
To my lifelong friend who's never had a PC and was a little intimidated by the Steam library at first, it's a great way to get deals. It's definitely cheaper than a console, but you might feel those growing pains at first.
Well, it's definitely cheaper than a Nintendo console.
Yeah, you're probably going to get, just because it's a Steam product, I feel like you're going to get your money's worth.
Yeah, any of the games that you want to play on a Switch will hardly ever go on sale, and when they do go on sale, they're not enough. It goes down to the price that it should be normally, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're like, Breath of the Wild, you can get that for $40 on sale. I'm like, it's been out for 6 years.
Honestly, now that Breath of the Wild 2 is not out and the Steam Deck is, I wonder if I'm going to go back to the Switch for it, if I will just obtain a copy for my Steam Deck.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. If they start releasing Nintendo games on the Steam Deck. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Anyway.
Say no more.
Do you have any mods or anything installed for I was gonna say Skyrim, but it's not Skyrim, it's Fallout New Vegas.
Skyrim Nevada. The only mod I am running right now is the one that gives you a perk on every level instead of every other level. And that's because I've beaten this game 8 times, 9 times. It gives me the good feel-good chemicals whenever I get a level up with the perk.
Good.
Don't
I
judge me.
gotcha. I don't care. Whatever. Do what you want. Do what you want in a single player game. I don't like people who cheat in multiplayer games. Really. Anyway, we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk to Aroa. What games did you play this week?
Almost exclusively Cult of the Lamb,
I've
I've
also on my deck.
I've heard good things about that. I don't know what it is.
That's that adorable ass game that they previewed, like, I don't know, it feels like it's been a year or so now. It might have been sooner than that though. Where you're like chibi cultists.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like the art style is really fucking cute, and you're a bunch of like cute little anthropomorphic animals. Um, well, you're a lamb, obviously,
right, right.
but you're leading this cult of anthropomorphic animals, uh, in an attempt to revive the one who waits below,
That
uh,
that
who
sounds
has
ominous.
revived you, and you were brought back to life because you were ceremoniously killed in an attempt to prevent a prophecy from playing out, which would overturn the old gods and bring about the new religion.
I
Um,
I see.
and you
So
do this in the way of playing a like colony sim combined with a roguelite.
I see. So
Kind of
it's good.
I'm okay
it,
with both of those things. It sounds
it
like it'd
kind
be
of
fun together.
yeah, like it plays kind of like a Binding of Isaac Hades sort of thing. Um but like very streamlined. You don't get like a billion items. You pick up one weapon and one curse, which is your spell ability basically, and you have a dodge roll, and that's pretty much the extent of the combat. But it feels really good, and you have pretty good like way of dealing with most situations because everything telegraphs its attacks. Uh, if I had any complaints, it would be that I don't know if I am progressing correctly. I feel like I'm spending a lot more time in the colony sim than I should be, and I just don't know if that's because I'm not doing something right or if it's not balanced correctly. Because I feel like everyone's starving way too often, but also if I give them too much food, then they just eat it all and it goes to waste. Um,
That is a problem. Supply and demand, and you gotta work with the supply chain stuff.
People gotta
um,
eat.
Yeah.
and like if I stay out in the roguelite sort of world for too long, then my cult starts to get sad and or hungry and or the shit starts to build up. And I like literally you have to build outhouses or else they'll just poop all over everything and then they get sick and then they can't work, which means they can't grow my food. It just all falls apart. So
Well, look, nobody said running a cult was gonna be easy.
Yeah.
that's true. Like
There was a
I
cult here in Oregon. It was very bad.
was that the Is that the ones where like the FBI came in and killed all of them?
I don't think that's what happened. I know
No, it
that
wasn't the FBI.
no,
Uh, who was it?
I don't think they
I
all
don't even know if
died.
that was Oregon.
I don't think they all died. I think from what I
Is
understand it
that the
kind of
one
dissolved
that
and
Far Cry 5 was based on?
m- m- may,
Waco?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that was Waco. Never mind.
No, this is it started with like an R, but yeah, there was a cult here and I don't know. They ended up poisoning some people in a nearby town and
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Those were the they were following like the like new age
Mhm.
bullshit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, Cultist Simulator or is
yeah.
that what it's called? Okay.
No, it's
Cult of the
Cult of the
Lamb.
Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb.
It's it for $25. Um, I've already got about 10 hours in it, and I'm not even halfway through the game. and
Oh,
there's definitely replayability
fun.
out the ass. So yeah, highly recommend.
Good. Did you play anything else, or just you said exclusively Cult of the Lamb? Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't mention the last time I was on here, but I've mostly finished Vampire Survivors, which was a thing I was doing like while I was enjoying the Steam Deck initially,
Yeah,
and you should really play that game.
I have.
They just updated again, and it's like the best bargain possibly
Yeah, it's like
on Steam.
$3.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's good.
like they just announced a roadmap or something, and they're going to be adding even more shit. It's incredible.
Friend of the show and sometimes guest, Earl bought that for me.
Me too. I haven't
Oh
actually gotten
yeah,
to
he
play it
bought
yet
it for
though.
me as well.
Yeah, so thanks, Earl, if you're listening. Anyway, we're gonna move on to me and talk about what games I played this week. On Monday, I played, I played Punch Out, not Mike Tyson's Punch Out, just Punch Out with Mr. Dream. There's no difference. I just loaded up the wrong ROM is what happened.
Oh,
And
that's
I cuz I didn't know what game I wanted to play. Sometimes I am struggling to find a game, and so I'll play like games that I used to play all the time. So I played, sometimes I'll hop into Binding of Isaac or whatever. And so I was like, I'll play some Punch Out. That'll be good. See if I can see how far I can get. And I beat it. I actually finally applied myself and I beat Mr. Dream. Usually what happens, or what used to happen, is I'd get stuck at Super Macho Man. But I pretty easily just flew through the game until I got to Mr. Dream, and then I got rolled a lot by Mr. Dream until I was able to finally eke out a victory. I did not get a knockout. I got a win by decision, but I still count that as beating a game. So I finally beat Punch Out after like
like
30 years.
like nobody can beat Mike Dream like via knockout unless they're like a crazy
I
speed
was
runner.
I was right there. I was right there. So, um, I had him down to like a sliver of health on a third KO on the third round, or third knockdown on the third round. And as like I was punching up, so like it was like two or three more hits, and then the bell rang and I won by decision. So I was like right there to get it. So I think I could do it if I just kept practicing. But
Why would you want to?
I don't. It's a fun game. I'd like to play it. I'll pick it up again and play it. I actually did pick it up last night and I tried it on my Steam Deck, and I have one complaint about the Steam Deck. The D-pad isn't
The
great.
D-pad? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that with New Vegas. I can't really get corner inputs like ever.
Yeah. And playing Punch Out with a shitty D-pad
Yeah,
is
yeah,
awful.
I could see that. I could see that.
So I was able to roll through the first few fights, but then it stops being as responsive when you're trying to make pretty precise inputs. And I will say that the D-pad on my Xbox Elite controller is really good. And I think that might be part of the reason why I was able to do so well in Punch Out, as
I
opposed
have
to the other times I played it when with like other Xbox controllers. Like playing it with a 360 controller is awful.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I can't fathom how you decide to make a new piece of hardware and like you put a D-pad on it and you use rubber dome switches on the D-pad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why do you do that? The PlayStation Vita had the best D-pad of anything ever in terms of portable devices at least.
Yeah.
And it's like just use those.
I really like the newer Xbox D-pads. I think that those are really good.
Is the
Are
newer
they
one the one you could rotate to make it a roller? Or is that the Elite that I'm thinking of?
that's the Elite. That the Elite is like crazy because yeah, it's got the
I can.
transforming D-pad.
Well, mine doesn't have the you swap them out. You swap out the pieces.
The newer one, yeah, you just swap the pieces out. They had one like the original Xbox Elite controller. You rotated the D-pad and it
Yeah.
raised up the little plastic things in the middle to make it a shitty Xbox 360 D-pad.
Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, so Mike Tyson's Punch Out, play it. It's a good game. I'm not good at Super Punch Out because I never played it when I was a kid. I have no idea what I'm doing in that game. Maybe I'll play that
You
someday.
punch the man.
Oh, that's it? That's what you do? Good. Punch the referee. Got it.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I played some Final Fantasy IV, and I got all the crystals. Well, I didn't get all the crystals. I got to the point where the enemy got all the crystals, because that's what happens. And then I went to the underworld, and the enemy got all of the dark crystals that are in the underworld. And
That'll happen.
now I think I'm going to the moon. I think that's the next step, from what I understand. So that'll be fun.
I personally have this weird thing about space whales, and I swear I think this all started with Final Fantasy IV.
I see. What thing
Whales
do
do
you
not
have?
belong in space. Why are whales always being depicted as in space?
I don't think it's a Final Fantasy thing.
No, and it's not, but I think that's where it started.
I don't know.
Oh, because the skies are a big blue ocean. No, it's not. It's space. You don't
What-
see octopus out in space. It's always whales.
What about giant space turtles that you live on?
Okay, yes, you do. There's the occasional turtle, but
Yeah.
there's definitely whales. Like, what other fish are there? It's never other fish. It's always goddamn whales.
I don't know.
Because like whales are big.
Yeah, they're impressive. You're not gonna have space shrimp.
No, but like if you're making the allegory that space is the ocean, why not just make it a whole ocean? Why is it just whales? This is
don't
my
think-
irrational anger thing, but it's always bothered me.
It seems,
I think you're getting the wrong allegory out of it because I don't
Yeah.
think it's about space being an ocean. It's that space is big and scary and unknown and like has
Like an ocean.
powerful things in it, like a big powerful whale. Now by that same argument, why isn't there space sharks?
Fucking A.
Yeah.
So
We're gonna move on, and I'm gonna talk
No,
about
get angry with me.
the other game that I played on Friday. Connor and I played some Halo 3.
Yeah, that was actually quite fun.
Yeah, and we beat it.
Yeah,
So
the first try.
I beat 2. Yes, neither of us died the whole time after I edit that video.
We did the lasso.
Well, when we got to the end, for some reason the car just didn't make the jump like it was supposed to. It just turned around.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really weird that the person driving just let go of the wheel or something.
Man, I left the oven on, and anyways.
Connor, right before the last jump, decided to not make the last jump, so we had to go through the whole stage again.
It
The
was
whole
worth it.
driving section. Anyway, so I beat Punch Out, and I beat Halo 3 on not legendary mode. We beat it on heroic. So that's what we did this week. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about some news stories. Let's talk about... let me move my screen over to the correct side. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. Final Fantasy 14. So apparently, Square Enix is not doing so hot. I guess they're less than 50,000 sales on Stranger of Paradise didn't boost their revenue this year.
is that real?
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah. Stranger of Paradise sales numbers.
Oh, I'm lightheaded from
46,849 physical units in its launch week.
Okay, well that's physical units. Like that's like
Nobody buys
That is-
physical stuff anymore.
yeah, that means nothing. Especially not fucking Final Fantasy Stranger Paradise or whatever.
It says, according to Game Data Library, Stranger of Paradise lands in 4th for the worst selling spin-offs. The only spin-off to sell less digitally in Japan are Chocobo's Dungeon, the Crystal Bears, and Chocobo
Oh,
Tales.
oh no.
So while yes, it did not sell, it didn't sell well. It sold maybe a couple 100,000 copies. I doubt it sold more than that.
It was sold on Steam, right?
Yeah, I think so. Are you gonna look up Steam charts or something?
Yeah.
I don't like. Do they release the sales on? I don't even know. I never checked.
No, they just pull it from people who have it like as their actively played game.
Oh, okay.
Uh I don't even
But while you look that up, the games that did make the money, it says Square's latest financial report is an example of good news, bad news for players. The bad news is that the studio had a poor quarter, losing 16% of the financial ground gained from the same period last year. A big part of the drop was the underperformance of HD game sales. I wonder what games they're talking about.
it's
The
on
good news.
Epic.
Oh, okay. The good news: Final Fantasy XIV continues to be a solid performer, and has actually improved its subscriber count year over year. Good job, Final Fantasy XIV, the best MMO that is out right now, in my opinion. Dragon Quest X and Final Fantasy XI also did well, apparently. So Final Fantasy XI is still pulling in money, and so is Dragon Quest X, which never released outside of Japan. Which I don't know why they never released it outside of Japan.
So
What's
does
up?
that mean that like is like Squeenix gonna pull a Konami at some point?
I don't think so. I know they're selling off some
Like
of
all their
their
Western stuff.
all their
All of their
westerns.
Western studios they dumped.
Yeah, and they're just like, hey, we're just gonna like they got rid of Eidos, which is weird. I wouldn't have done that. Um,
Uh,
but they're also
I don't
like
know, man.
it's so weird. Okay, so Stranger of Paradise did poorly, did awfully, and they're not talking about it. They're not. They're kind of sweeping that under the rug. When the relaunch, it was like a decade ago, when the relaunch of the Tomb Raider series happened, Square Enix was mad because in the first month, it only sold like 6 million copies. And they're like, it
Well,
underperformed. Like, what? Like, it was a great game and it did really well. And they're like, nope, only 6 million copies. So they have like really weird standards for the games that they release made by other studios, like Hitman.
well, and they tend to do that whenever, at least the EA's whole thing has always been to report that it didn't perform as well as they wanted, so that way later on, whenever they kill that studio, it fits with the timeline. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's bizarre to me that like they would allow Eidos to like spend all of that money on the rebooting the franchise and all that, and then just shit on it all while intending to liquidate the company in the background the whole time. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't really fit in with everything. I don't know. I see it as just the culmination of everything since the Deus Ex sequel flopped. Just
Mankind Divided, right?
yeah. Ever since that came out and it was like not even a quarter as well received as the first one,
I thought it was
you know,
pretty
first
good.
one.
Human Revolution.
Yeah.
The
Like
reboot.
yeah, like it was not as good as Human Revolution critically, and then from like at least what I remember, Mankind Divided was seen as like a failure in terms of being an immersive sim. It pretty much just had you going from set piece to set piece almost along the lines of like a just a typical Call of Duty style shooter,
It
just
was all right,
with
but
like some other game elements mixed in. It didn't make good on any of the systems that were introduced in the first game.
Maybe I'll play through those games again sometime.
I never finished Human Revolution.
I beat both of them. I beat both of
Yeah,
those
Never.
games.
I went back to it a second time when all the DLC finished coming out, and it's not that it's a bad game. It left me lacking.
I
And I
remember.
think you nailed it previously by saying it didn't live up to the hype of the last one. It was too actiony, not enough like critical thinking.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
remember when Human Revolution came out, and Connor was like, "My computer, this
Oh
game
yeah.
only runs at like 5 frames a second. I don't know what's going on." And we went through all of the stuff, and I was like, "Okay, so everything, like your hardware is good, your drivers are up to date. Check, 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 check. It's got to be your BIOS." Like it's dumb, but like that's probably what it is. And so Connor did a Google search, and apparently that particular gigabyte motherboard that he had for specific games, would the BIOS was messed up and would make games run like crap. And there was no update to the BIOS. They were not going to be putting out an update to fix it.
Good
That was
old
the game
Gigabyte.
that made me because I think until that point I was just using pre-builts. I'm pretty sure that was the game that was like, I'm building my own computer. Screw this.
Yep. It was good. And I was proud of myself because I figured it out. Anyway.
Wow.
Anyway, we're gonna move on. Final Fantasy 14. If you want to play it, do or don't. I don't know. Do
Or
what you
don't.
want to do.
Do.
Yeah, do. Lots. This is. I put this as the news story, but it's kind of a overarching thing with the games industry right now. That a lot of games are getting delayed till the first quarter of next year.
Uh-huh.
This happens like
Every year.
Every
Every year.
year, yeah.
I'm used to it by now. I don't get excited for a game until it's out and on sale at this point.
Yeah. So, this game though, I think it's a game I don't know if Connor would like. I know you like XCOM, but are you into like superhero movies?
The movies, no, but like I'm fine with superheroes in general, especially almost I don't want to say exclusively, but typically I'm a Marvel fan over a DC guy, so like this should be my jam.
Yeah, we're talking about Marvel's Midnight Suns has been delayed until February of next year, or fiscal 2023, which it says by March 31st, 2023. They
Can
didn't
So I
give
know
an
somebody
exact date.
can somebody tell me which superhero is the goth chick using a table leg as a weapon?
I don't know, but I enjoy the skin. Like I should like everything about this game. It looks like it's gonna be a superhero romp all about being able to like customize skins. I imagine that's probably gonna be where the DLC farm of it comes in.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, there's a deck building component.
Uh-huh.
Oh no. I don't know. I'm probably gonna grab it. I like XCOM. I'm bad at them, but I like the XCOM series, and I like superheroes quite a bit. So, being able to play as Wolverine
Whoa.
and Spider-Man is gonna be pretty sweet.
They're gonna put Blade in it.
Well, yeah, he's a
Yeah,
Marvel
he's a
character.
Marvel.
Yeah, but like when's the last time Blade's been in anything?
He's still alive and active in the comic books, I believe.
Yeah, they haven't made a
Anything that
movie or
people
anything.
actually pay attention to.
Well, yeah, of course they're gonna put Blade into it. Like that doesn't make sense not to put him into a game with all of the other superheroes.
Also, they
Well,
announced he's got a movie coming up.
Oh, does
they
he?
did.
He's gonna be a part of the Phase 6, I'm like 90% sure.
Is
Huh.
is
Is he gonna kill vampires with rave music playing in the background?
Oh, I hope so.
No, I think Morbius did that and it didn't do too well.
Oh no.
I have yet to watch that movie.
I know you have it. I've also just been like, I'm not actually interested enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one is.
No.
Literally
Nobody
no
was.
one is.
I kind of, when they brought it back to theaters, and I was like, I might go. Oh, nope, it's gone again.
But yeah, because they brought it back to theaters because of the meme, thinking that yes, meme engagement equals they actually care about the franchise.
No.
No.
I think what they could have done that might have worked to embrace it is like if they had another game that they could put a Morbius skin into, that might have sold. Like,
Or if they would have just like re-edited the movie and just dubbed in Morbius saying it's Morbin time every
Yeah.
few scenes.
Not every few scenes. It'd be like once at the right before the denouement, and that enough would make people go, haha, funny reference. And they'd go there. I mean, look at the gosh darn Minions movie. The one that they had to ban people from seeing because, well, just because people suck, I guess there's no other way to say it. But imagine being like, no, we will refuse your money. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Morbius wishes they had that.
Anyway, let's talk about sponsorships.
Yeah,
If
We
let's
don't get
talk
those.
about that, Nathan. Let's talk about what it costs to have somebody on a podcast.
if we were to get offered sponsorships, we've already shown with the Clinton Score Classics that we are willing to whore ourselves out.
We
Right?
have
Like,
done a successful advertising campaign. I concur.
yeah.
I'll gargle them balls.
Exactly. That's what we do here on the Rate and Entertainment podcast. But this is a crazy statistic, and I guess it makes sense. Obviously, it's not going to happen for a podcast that gets like a dozen listens a week, but if you're really popular, it says this is from TechSpot. The headline is "Popular Podcast. Some guests are paying to big to appear on your favorite shows." And it says if a special guest appears on your favorite podcast, they might have paid the host thousands of dollars for the opportunity. It is especially likely if the person promotes a product or business on the episode. Without
Well,
full
that's called an
disclosure,
advertisement.
yeah, without full disclosure, the practice raises ethical and legal concerns, possibly falling under the definitions of payola. In the
I
U.S.,
think they meant peyote.
In the U.S., it's illegal to record it's illegal for record labels to pay radio stations to play their music without informing listeners. This month, a PR CEO and an FTC spokesperson told Bloomberg that regarding payola law, doling out money to a podcast for appearance without disclosure falls into a gray area at best. Nonetheless, multiple podcast companies facilitating such deals are thriving.
Oh, go figure that the government is way behind the times and we don't have laws to deal with these situations.
I think we
And by the
do.
time,
I think we do technically have laws to deal with this situation, but we don't have the enforcement to actually go after people having this done.
but we don't. We don't because it's not radio.
Oh, I see. I think it would fall
That's
under
why
the
it falls
same
into a
umbrella.
gray area.
Okay. It says multiple guests have paid between $20,000 and $50,000 for an appearance. And I'm telling you right now, if somebody offered me $50,000 to have a guest on this podcast, they are appearing on this podcast.
Yeah, even if they like came on here and was like Hitler isn't real, I'd still be okay with it.
I would fight back against it because I would make sure to get that money up front.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, are we taking the money first and then we bring them on
And
they
then we
go,
just
"Hitler's
shit
not
on them
real"?
the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
I would do it. But yeah, between $20,000 and $50,000 for an appearance. The Guestio boss suggests a fee about $100 to $150 per 1,000 listeners.
That is ridiculous.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know we again, we're a really small podcast, and most, to be fair, most small podcasts are like ours, where they just don't get very many views. And there are a lot of podcasts that get thousands of views, but I'm going to
Classic is getting there.
Yeah. Like we're at Clinton Score Classics actually doing pretty well every month.
Like I've been watching it go up. I've been impressed.
Yeah. But like 1,000 listeners for $100 or $150, like that's pretty reasonable. Like that's really good. What is it called? CRM or whatever it's called?
Yeah, I was gonna say like CPM.
CPM.
Like in comparison to normal advertisements, shit, son.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100 times a good CPM. Like
Getting it for a steal.
It does say the type of sponsorship seems most prevalent in wellness, cryptocurrency, and business podcasts.
Yeah, it's where you can have a shyster who spends $50,000 to come on your podcast about whatever, and then he comes on and is like, "I can tell you how to run a business involving crypto, or you can sell your Ethereum and buy
Who
Dogecoin at a discount."
who wants to pivot? It says in one case, business coach Nick Unsworth paid the podcast Entrepreneurs on Fire $35,000 for 2 appearances and
God, I want to
12
puke just from the name of that podcast.
yeah. 12 so it's $35,000 for 2 appearances and 12 weeks of ads, which returned $150,000 in revenue from listeners who became new customers.
Yeah.
Um so, I'm not going to read through the rest of the article, but that's pretty
I mean,
great.
you already read half of it,
I know, but that's
word for word.
well, yeah, whatever. That's why I said it was from TechSpot. That way they
But it's
can't sue me.
it's funny too that like these are coming from the cryptocurrency market a lot of the time, because it's
Yeah.
very much in the same way that how cryptocurrency like works right now. The like people are doing this because it's popular to do it, and like as soon as people start to catch on, they're not going to get any business from it, but it's
Yeah.
okay because they made their money, and then the market's just going to liquidate.
Yeah, like if some crypto bro wants to pay me $25,000 or $35,000 to have them on my podcast a couple of times, and
If a
then the
crypto bro
crypto
wants to pay us like 1 Ethereum, that'd be fine.
yeah. So I think it's rather interesting, but also, yeah, they need to work on creating these laws so that there has to be some transparency, because there has to be transparency on YouTube, right? Like if you're paid a sponsorship, you're supposed to say I have a sponsor, or this is a sponsored spot, or something like that, or
Hmm.
they gave me this product for free.
Yeah.
And I
Although
would assume that would be for podcasts too.
I think that might be different because that might be YouTube trying to do that to cover their own ass kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it isn't necessarily, I think it's a gray area like a lot of things on the internet, and YouTube is just trying to play it safe, so they just make it their policy that you have to do that.
Well,
I
not
could be wrong, because I know that there was a whole thing with Xbox years and years ago. They were paying people to advertise a bunch of Xbox Live Arcade games,
oh.
and they like specifically said, "Don't mention that we paid you."
Yeah, I don't like
So
that. I do not like
yeah,
that one bit.
and then there were people saying, "I think this might be illegal," and yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna move on again. Well, actually, what I was gonna say is one good and bad thing is that YouTube kind of it basically has a monopoly, right, on user uploaded videos. There's TikTok and stuff too, but for the longer form videos,
That's yeah,
it
different
tends to
format.
be YouTube. And podcasts, for better or worse, there's so many different places to listen to podcasts. There's no real place that has a monopoly. When podcasts first started becoming big, it was mainly like iTunes. But
Yeah,
now you got
it's literally why they're called podcasts.
yeah. Now we've got iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher and Google. Like there's so many different places you can listen to podcasts that it's not a monopoly. So it would be harder for like Spotify to come out and be like, "Oh, if you have a paid promotion, you have to
Yeah,
mark it." Because people would just not do that, and they would just be like, "Oh, well, I'm just going to be on iTunes where they don't require me to do that."
yep,
So it's harder to enforce a rule like that on multiple places without a law specifying, "Hey, you need to actually say that you're getting sponsored." Anyway, now we are going to move on, and we're going to talk about China gaming laws. You guys like China, right? Big fans?
No.
Oh,
Kind of sucks.
yeah. Yeah. Um so I would have been very very in trouble as a child if I lived in China, because they only, like, children over in China, if you're under the age of 18, I believe, only get 3 hours a week to play video games. And I think this is definitely specifically online video games, but still 3 hours a week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You get 1 day, or 1 hour for Friday, 1 hour for Saturday, and 1 hour for Sunday. And then on
And
holidays,
that's specifically between 8 and 9 p.m. local time.
yeah. You get literally 1 hour that you can actually play games online. And then on holidays, you get another hour to play games. So that is not something I would
And
have
all your
liked.
family's there.
Yeah. Well, all your family. I to be fair, how many times I just escaped to my bedroom to play video games while family was visiting.
To
I
be
still do
fair,
when
if
families
you
are
live
there.
in China, most of your family probably lives with you anyway.
It's possible.
Very fair.
Yeah.
Or they're dead from the smog.
Yes. So,
Or the government.
now it says basically there are people online who are talking to people who are under the age of 18 and being like, "Hey, I can help you bypass this, but you have to give me around 560 US dollars, which is 3,800 won, whatever it's called,
Yuan.
yuan." Um, and then of course the the child would send the money. They would steal their bank card from their mom or dad, send the money, and then never hear from that person again. Which is not cool. And there's another story here from TechSpot. The victim is another case was even younger, and the payout was higher. A 12-year-old was snared by the promise of a free game skin before the scammer convinced them that they had committed an illegal offense. The punishment would be a year in jail or a $15,000 fine, but the fraudster said that they could make the whole thing disappear for $1,500. This kind of reminds me of, do you guys remember the FBI scam? That was like,
which
10
one?
So the one I'm thinking of was when I was working for a remote support company, and old people would call me and they'd be like, "Hey, so I have this thing that appeared on my computer that's saying that they found some underage content on my computer, but I can pay $300 to make it go away." And I would be like, "Did you pay them?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You dumb."
Are they going to take away my underage content?
No, Patero. No joking about that. But no, it was stuff like that. So like, it would be ransomware. They would lock up your computer. Now this is similar in the fact that they're blackmailing the kid, and then being like, "Give us $1,500 to make this whole thing disappear," and it is awful. And one way to fix it would be to just not have draconian laws, because apparently some people thought they would ease these restrictions since it's summertime and kids aren't going to school. But nope, they're still only allowing them to play games for 3 hours a week, which I understand the reasoning behind it, but I don't think that the government should be the one that's telling the children what they can do with their time.
Well, the government tells the adults what they can do with their time, so
That's true.
Also, imagine being somebody like who's not applied to this restriction. What happens during these hours? You just get offline because you know that's when the squeakers are on?
Because that's like when it's gonna be the
oh
little kids
my god.
are gonna be on. What was that, Oro?
What if the law wasn't made to make children more productive, but instead someone high up in Chinese government just wanted to get kids off of his online games.
That would be something I would do. That's what
Extremely based.
these are
I just
the
want to play Fortnite, and all these fucking kids are on here all the time. That's it. Video games are illegal if you're under 18.
I eat dinner between 8 and 9. They can play then, I guess. That sadly that would be hilarious.
I can actually see that happening though, because China's just that fucked up.
But that is okay. That is messed up, and I agree. But there are states who in the United States want to not do things exactly like this. But I remember, I think we spoke about it years ago on the podcast, where there was a state that wanted to charge people a state tax to watch online adult entertainment.
Yeah. Which, like as we talked about then, I am sure, like you just get around it with a VPN or something.
Well, yeah, you get around it with a VPN, and obviously that's
what you'd also do in China.
That it's going to be much more difficult to do that in China, I would imagine.
No.
No? Okay. I don't know.
They give out holes to the Great Firewall, like if you're a diplomat or a teacher, like it's nothing, and those enter circulation like crazy.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Like how do you think Chinese people get on YouTube? YouTube's all Google services are banned in China, other than I maybe they have a search now. I can't remember because they banned Google search a few times.
I thought Google worked on one specifically for China, but they use like Baidu or something like that.
Yeah,
like they use a different like China search.
Their YouTube is Bilibili.
Oh yeah.
Like a ton of people also just use English YouTube because VPNs are really easy to get a hold of in China.
Good. I'm happy to hear that, and hopefully that's a way that these kids can bypass that. And another thing is, why don't they just
Steam is illegal in China too?
Like if I were, no, I think Steam's allowed in China, but I'm not sure.
It's got 8 games you could play. That's like a Switch. It's got like 4 games you could play on it.
But that like one thing you could do is, if you're a kid and you have cool parents who would just let you use their account. But didn't they implement like a facial recognition thing?
They did. They implemented a facial scanner thingy. And like, God, China's awful.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't hate China as much as the next guy, but I hate the Chinese government. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, that's what that's what everyone means when they say
yeah.
Like nobody's well,
except for like stupid racists, but
yeah.
Like if you're racist, you hate the actual Chinese people. But almost everyone, whenever they say they hate China, they hate the government entity.
Government.
Yeah, the government entity that says Disney needs to take out those token gays, or else they can't put their movie out.
Yeah, there was a kiss scene in, I think it was the last Star Wars movie that was released. In the background at the end.
Yeah, wasn't it a gay kiss?
Yeah, 2 girls kiss, and they made it like kind of hidden so that they could easily remove it for the Chinese release.
Yeah, they did the same thing with Buzz Lightyear. There's like a scene where like 2 women hug or something, and they just removed them.
China's like, whoa.
Can't have women hugging. And then
I play a Chinese mobile game that's got anthropomorphic boat girls, and like it's frightening how different the designs are between the Japanese and American servers versus the Chinese servers.
The last thing I'm going to bring up before we move on is that I believe Winnie the Pooh is also banned.
Yes, of course.
Because
that's old. That's not even news. That's old.
One of the best indie horror games to come out in like the last decade was removed from sale because they like grabbed an asset or something with a bunch of graffiti in it, and there was a Winnie the Pooh in there, and some Chinese official found out about it, and like that dev studio might be dead.
That's awful. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about virtual reality. This is something I brought up just because I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Are either of you interested in Half-Life 2 VR?
I suppose.
I mean, all right.
I'm
Well,
not.
I'm gonna be more vocal about it. I've been wanting this since like the Vive. So yeah,
So
I'm not.
you are interested in it.
I'm extremely interested.
I'm not yet at a point to be excited about it, but I am interested in it. Like I'm excited for it to come out eventually, but I don't think we're close to that.
I mean,
It
I'm watching this trailer right now, and it looks pretty fucking good.
yeah,
Well,
I'm watching the trailer
and then
too.
you say, well, that's what this news article's about, and
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I was gonna say. That's
oh, I
news
get
news
it.
article.
You were trying to lead into it.
I was trying. Nobody was taking the fucking bait.
I
I
I
was just
mentioned
like
the trailer.
I was just like maybe Connor didn't read the story. I don't know. I never read the story either, and I'm the one who puts them up.
Oh, holy shit. Oh man, I'm reading this and it's like
It's almost here.
It's almost here. The beta starts in a month, and
well, it's
That's
not
I
it.
just
Goodbye.
that. I've get that there's more shit to be excited.
what tell me what stuff is there to be excited about?
So they expect that you'll be able to use any Half-Life 2 mod that doesn't utilize custom DLLs. So like custom maps basically.
Oh, nice.
Like that's gonna be so fucking cool because there's so many cool Half-Life 2 mods, obviously. Um they are apparently also like moving or trying to migrate the engine over to DX10 or 11 so that like the VR works right.
Oh,
Because
like DirectX
Half-Life
10
2's
or oh right, yeah, it was released in like 2000 mid.
4.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4 or 5. I couldn't remember which one.
Yeah. They're also doing like they're doing AI upscaling and all that for the textures, which is cool. But like I was expecting whenever I saw the title of this article, I was thinking it was going to be like the Gary's Mod VR mod, which if you haven't seen that is altogether pretty bare bones, but it's like what do you fucking expect? Uh
Yeah.
like but this looks really good. Uh has like hands and like free aiming with the gun and the scope on the crossbow looks pretty good. Like it looks like somebody put it into the Alex engine, except all the assets look kind of like ass, which that's just how it's going to
It was
be.
made in 2004.
Yeah, I mean that's just how it works, and for what it's worth, for a 2004 game, Half-Life 2 holds up pretty well, but in VR it's going to look like shit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
hey, you can hit Combine with crowbar and they die, which melee combat. What do you know? It's the thing that they just didn't put in Alex for some fucking reason.
Why not?
It's so they
They
could make
couldn't.
that tease at the end feel awesome. Also, they probably couldn't get it working right.
Yeah, they were like it doesn't feel good. They couldn't make it
Oh,
feel right. So
interesting. Okay. But yeah, so it looks good. Half-Life 2 VR, the beta will start next week. I assume it's free. I assume it's
oh,
going to be
yeah,
a free upgrade because it's a mod.
yeah, yeah. They intend on making it open source as long as there's not like any weird legal shit. Since they're doing a lot of sounds like they're doing a lot of like reverse engineering stuff to make it work.
Yeah. And our last story for the day, we are going to talk about John Deere tractors.
Yeah, I brought this
We're
up.
trying that pivoting thing right now.
Yeah, it worked well, huh?
See if we can get that. See if we can get that.
Speaking of
That John
modding
Deere market.
and reverse engineering,
There you go. Nailed it.
reverse
Got it on
engine,
the first
yeah, Babazinga. So yeah, John Deere tractors. If you're not in the know, for the last shit, at least 10 years, I think, if you've bought slash rented a John Deere tractor, you couldn't fix it on your own. And it wasn't a matter of like, well, you couldn't get the parts or it needed like a special wrench, something like that. I'm oversimplifying it.
Yeah. So
But I mean,
yeah, you
that is
couldn't.
kind of the issue, though, is proprietary tools, proprietary parts, and
Mhm.
I think if you didn't have the license, you couldn't actually get any of those tools or parts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish it was that basic. It's not. It's not even that. It's not even like that. There is software built into the tractor that reads chips in each of the major parts of the tractor, so that if you replace a component but it's not registered with John Deere, and like you don't insert your smart card or whatever into the computer, it won't start anymore.
Yeah.
You have to have a licensed John Deere technician install that part and then have the computer recognize it, a la like an Apple computer slash phone.
And that
Um,
seems like it should be against the law.
yeah, you'd fucking think so. And in some states it is. Uh, but hey, thanks to some hackers, we've managed to jailbreak a couple of John Deere tractors, which is something that should have never been said, but it
Yeah.
was.
Well, it's like with
Uh,
one thing I don't like about Tesla
Oh,
is that you will buy a car with a specific battery pack size.
yeah.
But they put the bigger battery pack in the car. You just can't access it unless you give them like 5 to 10,000 more dollars.
I hate living in the future like this. It's the same thing BMWs did with the heated seats. It's like, oh, it's in there, but
You
you
can't
don't
use
pay
them.
us our seat tax. You don't get to use warm stuff. It's like, what the
yeah.
Or
fuck?
or the new Toyota Priuses, in order to do remote start on your car, you had the ability to do remote start on your car for 3 years, and then you had to pay a monthly subscription for it.
God fucking damn it.
I know, right? And so the reason I bring up the Tesla one though is I don't know if there's a hack that you can just, you know, jailbreak your Tesla and up the battery pack size.
I mean, I know for a fact that there were people going around stealing Teslas because
With
someone
Bluetooth.
cracked the yeah, I don't remember what they were using, but I know that they were able to crack the ignition key encryption.
My coworker has a Tesla, and I want to try to do that. Like not with his permission. I want to
Well,
like
yeah,
see if we could
you
make it
just want to
happen.
be able to demonstrate it because it would both feel cool and also be satisfying to be able to be like, "Yeah, you fucking smug piece of shit! You paid $50,000 for a goddamn car. Look what I can do."
He did pay $50,000 for that car, and he's not smug about it. He's like, I am poor. He's like, I have sold my soul to afford this car. I'm like, okay, good. So
For this car that could at any time spontaneously combust.
yeah, well, that any car can spontaneously combust.
2% of Teslas spontaneously combust.
That's pretty low percentage, right?
No,
No,
Oh, oh,
no, it's
okay.
not.
I think most things they hit like 0.5 and they do a recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is up with the John? Let's pivot back. Let's go to John Deere. And what does this? What is it? Sick codes. What does it
Yeah.
do?
So it lets you run arbitrary software on your John Deere tractor. Uh, so that means you can get around the stupid DRM. It
Good.
means you could potentially, like, basically, we've got the homebrew channel for John Deere tractors now, which is fucking cool. From what I've seen, which isn't very much, admittedly, uh, you can get like a fully functioning Linux desktop working on the John Deere computer, which is really cool. Uh, and of course, somebody managed to get Doom running on
Yeah, I
there.
was gonna say Doom is gonna be Pac-Man. Get all the normal
Y-
stuff.
Yeah, but somebody got like an X window environment running on the John Deere tractor, which means you've got root access. You can do whatever you want. Uh, this only works on two models, the 2630 and the 4240. I know nothing about
Yep.
John Deere tractors besides I hate them.
Yep.
So, this is just exciting to me because it's indicative of what will happen if somebody with intelligence and time wants to go up against a massive company that insists that they're bullshit about preventing you from being able to own your own shit. Uh, if they want to prove that that's nonsense, and like that's what he's managed to do. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks.
So I mean, it's promising. I hope that this happens more.
Yeah. It says first priority running custom farm themed Doom on the tractor, of course.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Of course. But it's I don't know if we've spoken about John Deere this particular on
I've
this particular
probably
podcast.
mentioned it.
I know we've talked about stuff to do with right to repair, and that is one of the. It's funny the one of the biggest right to repair like groups are people who own John Deere tractors
Yeah.
because
Well,
they can't
and
repair their own like they couldn't give a like shit about their iPhone being able to repair that. But when it comes to their tractors, like so many of these, farmers will be used to like working on their own tractors and trailers and stuff. And
because
not being able to do
it's
that pisses them off, and rightfully
it,
so.
it's fucking ridiculous that you pay well over $100,000 to $200,000 for a tool like this, and then you can't fix it yourself.
Yeah.
And the reason that they do this is that John Deere just got ahead of the game and said, we're really popular. We make a very good product, and people are like bound to our ecosystem. We're going to turn it into a subscription service.
You could take
And
that paragraph and replace John Deere with Apple,
yeah,
and it would be
I
the
mean,
same damn thing.
you could replace John Deere with most companies that are like the top of whatever market that they're in, because that's what everyone's trying to do now. We've been complaining about it for years that you don't own anything anymore, and everyone wants you to pay a monthly subscription for everything. I mean, car companies have done it with leases since forever. Like
Oh yeah.
every company wants you to lease a vehicle. They don't want you to buy it because then they can take it back and then either release it or sell it to somebody else and still make even more money off of it.
Yeah. I guess the only cars that are
Unless it's a
worth
Tesla.
Yeah, the only cars that are worth leasing are electric cars, I guess.
Yeah.
Because the batteries are going to degrade over time. And so
Well,
it's
they
more
generally have
financial.
10-year warranties.
Yeah, it's mostly generally more financially reasonable to lease an electric car and then just give it back to the dealership when the lease is over.
Or in the
But
case of a Tesla, if you lease a Tesla, you have to give it back to them. You can't even buy it at the end of your lease agreement.
God, I hate Tesla. I
They take
really
it and
do.
then they put it into their rideshare fleet.
I I I hate Tesla now. Like a few years ago, I was all in, and I was like, man, Teslas are awesome. They're good looking cars. They've got really nice features. They're coming out with full, like this was a few years ago. I'm like, man, they're gonna have that full driving here in a year or two, and they don't have that yet. And now it's just like not just Elon Musk being a douchebag, but also like the company is just doing more and more things to make me like I'm gonna go with a different car when I finally get an electric car, which my next car will be an electric car. I can't bring myself to buy a Tesla. It would have to be a different car.
Well, and like you're better off buying a different car anyway.
Well, yeah,
Because nearly every other automaker makes a more affordable, more reliable vehicle.
There are two cars that I'm deciding on which one I want to go and purchase, probably next year or 2024. And that is either the Bolt, the Chevy Bolt, because the 2023 model is down to $26,000 now, which
Yeah.
I think is and if they're able to get that tax credit, because they just signed in the new tax credit stuff that takes effect next year. If the Chevy Bolt actually qualifies for that tax credit, that's another $7,000 off of that. So it would be under $20,000 for the Bolt EV. So it's either that one, or there's another car that I'm really interested in. It would be more expensive for the one that I would want. It would be around $35,000 to $40,000. And that's the Aptera, but that can get up to 600. The one I would want would get up to 600 miles worth of range on a single charge.
Was it like the entire bottom of the car is a fucking battery?
It's the way that you should look it up. Aptera, Aptera. It is designed to be very efficient, where most EVs can get about
these guys.
Yeah, most EVs can get about 2 to 5 miles of range on a kilowatt. Where this one will get 10 miles of range on 1 kilowatt hour.
I remember when I think these guys were on Start Engine years ago.
And it looks
that's cool.
It looks so stupid, but I love it.
That don't look stupid. You fucking kidding me?
I
It's
think
cool as hell.
I think it looks awesome.
Yeah.
But and the doors are the doors that go up, which I always
the like gull wing doors.
I've always wanted some of those. But the only problem with the Aptera is it is a 2-seater. But to be fair, more than 2 people don't often ride in my car.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't really matter that much. So
Chevy brought back the Volt too.
Well, and another thing about Aptera, they support right to repair.
We'll see.
They have come out and said that they support right to repair.
Good for them. We'll see what they actually do with that.
You can say that all you want.
That's true. Until put your money where your mouth is. Put all the parts
Apple
on
says
iFixit.
they support right to repair too.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, some Apple products have made it onto iFixit. I want to start seeing John Deere parts on iFixit. That would be awesome. But right to repair. Hopefully, it actually becomes law at some point. But I know that a lot of companies are trying to get ahead of it, so that way, Apple coming out and saying they like right to repair. I think even John Deere said something like that at one point, but then backed off from that. Insofar as oh, hey, we're Apple. We're gonna put our screens on iFixit so you can buy them for really high prices, and please don't sign this into law. And they try to get ahead of the game so that way it doesn't actually become law. That way they can continue screwing over consumers. Anyway, we're pretty much done, and I think Connor and I have to get ready for Shadowrun.
We got a game to play.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for being here, Aroa.
No problem.
Thank you for being here, Connor.
I was here.
And I will be back next week. Same time, same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you for being here. Goodbye.
Honk, honk.